At times, the terms climate change, greenhouse effect, and carbon footprint get bandied about in the establishment media, and oftentimes the terms get misused and are even misunderstood such that it makes many people confused. This video will set the record straight on this and more, as well as explain what it means for the planet. First, some terms. What is climate change? Climate is the average of weather patterns occurring over a period of years in an area. When these patterns begin to change, even slightly, it's referred to as climate change. So climate change can be described as occurring when deviations in Earth's climate system result in new weather patterns that last for at least a few decades, and maybe for millions of years. One particular form of climate change that has been measured and documented for the past few decades is global warming. What is global warming? Global warming is a long-term rise in the average temperature of Earth's climate system, and is an aspect of climate change shown by temperature measurements and by multiple weather effects. What is the cause? There are several, but the most abundant and clear cause is what's known as the greenhouse effect. So what is the greenhouse effect? Well, the Earth's atmosphere acts like a blanket and traps important gases like water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane to help keep us warm. As the sun heats the Earth, these gases keep the heat on the Earth's surface. The greenhouse traps heat, otherwise it would be much colder. However, over the years, we have added to these gases, creating excess heat. In short, the planet is gradually getting warmer as the Earth's atmosphere traps larger and larger amounts of these gases. The primary and largest amount of these gases appearing and being trapped is one particular gas, carbon dioxide. What is the impact of the planet? Carbon dioxide drifts up into the atmosphere and makes Earth's greenhouse gases thicker. As a result, more of the sun's heat gets trapped inside the atmosphere and the planet warms up. Carbon footprint. The vast majority of scientists define a carbon footprint as the total emissions caused by an individual, event, organization, or product expressed as a carbon dioxide equivalent. An individual, nation's, or organization's carbon footprint can be measured by undertaking a GHG emissions assessment, a life cycle assessment, or other calculative activities. Impact of global warming. So what does all this do? Well, there are several impacts that we've already seen, including some of the following: Arctic sea ice decline, sea level rise, retreat of glaciers. Global warming has led to decades of shrinking and thinning in a warm climate that has put the Arctic sea ice in a precarious position. It is now vulnerable to atmospheric abnormalities. Projections of declines in Arctic sea ice vary. Recent projections suggest that Arctic summers could be ice-free, defined as an ice extent of less than 1 million square kilometers, as early as between 2025 and 2030. The increase in water volume will result in extreme flooding of vast areas of ocean coastlines and many connected landmasses around the world. Extreme weather, extreme events, tropical cyclones. Data analysis of extreme events from 1960 through 2010 suggests that droughts and heat waves appear simultaneously with increased frequency. Extreme wet or dry events within the monsoon period have increased since 1980. Whole areas will eventually become deserts that will be inhabitable for most, if not all, species of life. Ecosystem changes, changes in ocean properties. Most ecosystems will be affected by higher atmospheric carbon dioxide levels combined with higher global temperatures. Expansion of deserts in the subtropics is probably linked to global warming. The physical effect of global warming on our oceans include an increase in acidity and a reduction of oxygen levels, also known as ocean deoxygenation. Most ocean and plant life will cease to exist, which has catastrophic downstream effects on the rest of the ecosystem. And finally, there are the long-term effects of global warming. Long-term effects include a response from the Earth's crust due to ice melting and deglaciation in a process called post-glacial rebound, when land masses are no longer depressed by the weight of ice. This could lead to landslides and increased seismic and volcanic activities. Tsunamis could be generated by submarine landslides caused by warmer ocean water thawing ocean floor permafrost or releasing gas hydrates. These catastrophic occurrences will increase in frequency to the point of becoming both the norm and irreversible. So what can be done? There are 3 basic steps. 1. Reducing one's carbon footprint. 2. Lobbying politicians to effect changes to combat global warming. And 3. Teaching others. 1. Reduce your carbon footprint. There are 4 basic paths we can take to reducing one's carbon footprint. First, we can choose to reduce, reuse, recuse, and refuse. This can also be done by using reusable items such as thermoses for daily coffee or plastic containers for water and other cold beverages rather than disposable ones. We can choose to drive less. By walking or biking to the destination rather than driving, not only is a person going to save money on gas, if walking is not an option, one should look into carpooling or mass transportation options in their area. Yet another option for reducing the carbon footprint of humans is to use less air conditioning and heating in the home. By adding insulation to the walls and attics of one's home and installing weather stripping or caulking around doors and windows, one can lower their heating costs more than 25%. Setting the thermostat just 2 degrees lower in winter and higher in summer could save about 1 ton of carbon dioxide each year. And finally, there's a choice of diet. Animal sources of protein, especially red meat, rice, and foods transported long distances and or via fuel-efficient transport, like highly perishable produce flown long distance, and heavily processed packaged foods are among the major contributors to a high-carbon diet. 2. Lobbying politicians. Politicians have the power to make really big changes. People should contact their elected officials either by telephone, letter, or email and ask them to take action on both reducing the effects of and increasing funds to research alternate forms of energy consumption that do not increase greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere. 3. Teaching others. Lastly, but equally important, is teaching others, especially kids and their peers, and encourage them to take action as well, affecting more and more people down the line. I hope this video podcast helps the Think Practical audience, as this is a very serious problem. I request everyone to take the necessary actions for our future generations. I thank Think Practical for giving me this opportunity to share.